You are watching the WD Broadcasting Network, your home for racing highlights, iRacing broadcast, commentary, and more. But here comes Jeremiah Woods. He wants to win in the Street Stock Showdown. He's hungry to get up to the front. If you are a fan of short track racing, the WD Broadcasting Network is your home for racing content in real life and on the sim. Follow the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that red subscribe button on YouTube to never miss an upload. Top spot away, Terzak once again into the back bumper. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network, and welcome back to the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. We are at the South Boston Speedway this week for 75 laps in race number 7 of the season. We have completed 6 races up to this point. Look at the schedule coming in. Last week we were at Bristol, where Zach Catalone picked up his 3rd victory of the season. Was able to hold off Jackson Masinko. Oswego Masinko took the victory, stole it from the hometown hero Zach Catalone. The week before that, caution-free at Nashville. That was one that I did not expect to go caution-free, but it definitely ended up being a pretty entertaining race. Masinko and Catalone battled up front all race long, and looked like Catalone was able to hold off and conserve tires just a little bit better, and ultimately that was what got him the victory. Practice finishing up. We've got about 7 minutes left before we qualify. Tonight, folks, I am running solo. I don't have my usual partner in crime, my co-host, Cody Geyer from KG Media. He's actually at the Slinger Super Speedway for the Slinger Nationals. Just finished up the pro race. We were all watching that in the drivers' meeting. We've got 3 races left after tonight. Slinger, 5 flags, and IRP, a combined total of 210 laps left after tonight's race at South Boston. Slinger is a very fun track on iRacing, especially in the sprint car. You fly around that quarter mile. It'll be fun next week, but we've got South Boston this week. Let's take a look at the point standings heading into South Boston. Jackson Masinko currently holds the top spot. He's 30 points ahead of Zach Catalone. Jeffrey Stanton holds 3rd. Jonathan Schaefer 4th. Christian Peterson and Brandon Atkinson, those two having a good battle for that final spot in the top 5. Peterson, with that 3rd place run last week, was able to open that gap up. Rylan Gray, Andrew Bogus, a couple of real-life sprint car drivers trying to work their way back up through the standings. Caleb Burge, our winner from Lanier in week number 3. Haven't seen him in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, not going to make the call here tonight. Another driver we haven't seen in a couple weeks, actually since that race at Lanier, Cole Cabry, back with the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. We'll see if Cabry can have another good, strong run. Last time we saw him at Lanier, he was running right at the front of the field. After battling with Andrew Bogus, there was some contact. The two of them, unfortunately, were out after that. But Cabry trying to figure out the setup before we go racing. We'll look at the times on the left side of our screen. With 4 minutes left, Zach Catalone, the only driver into the 13.2s, but as we get into a later portion of the night, times may start to differentiate. I think the times have already slowed down throughout the evening. I think Catalone was able to get that lap set very early in the practice session, and nobody has been able to top it just yet. Mitch Czernowski joining us for the first time in the Trackmasters, or in the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. Still had Thursday on my mind, I guess. But Czernowski, Race EPI Chassis Pro number 7, getting ready to go for his first Sprint Car Tour Sim Series start on iRacing. He's a very experienced iRacer. I don't know if he's ever made any starts in Leave the Pack, but a very accomplished name on the sim. Currently just outside of the top 5. Christian Peterson, the 75, picked up his first podium last week at Bristol. Had a hard-fought third-place finish. Started to drive up to the top 2 and challenged late because Masenko was trying to get around Zach Catalone. I think that allowed Peterson to close right up to the back bumper to put some pressure on. Look at tonight's race info here at South Boston. -94-degree track temp, so not the hottest track that we've ever seen, but definitely not cold temperatures here in South Boston, Virginia. Clear skies. The sun is getting ready to set at the virtual South Boston Speedway. So I do think these drivers will be able to race under the lights. And it looks like only a minute left in qualifying. We should be in practice. We should be finishing up here shortly. Looks like we've got 17 sprint cars on the property, ready to go. A pretty tight field throughout our 18. We started this season with a huge field of drivers, and slowly we have worked our way down to a core group of about 18 to, I'd say, 24 cars, and there's a lot of competition throughout the group. Had a couple drivers last minute, all in dire need of assistance before qualifying. It's hard to be both the promoter and the announcer because You want to take care of all the drivers' needs, but you got to make the fans happy. So let's see what qualifying will bring. Nobody's going to have to lock in. There's no transfer spots, anything like that here tonight. We're just going to qualify them and start them where they qualify. And let's see who will take the pole. First driver out onto the racetrack. Driver of the number 1 from Ashland, Ohio in the Precision Motorsports. Number 91. Beast chassis on that car as well. This is Jonathan Schaefer. Schaefer sits 4th in the point standings. Just 1 point behind Jeffrey Stanton. And oh, Schaefer hard into the wall. I don't think that's going to be a good start to qualifying. They do get 4 laps, though. That will allow him to reset. And we're trying to get the timing and scoring figured out there. Not sure what the deal was at that moment. Zach Catalone, quick time, a 13:29. He holds the top spot. Schaefer up to second, the 13:35. And Sabin Bybant goes quick time in the 98. 13:27. What a lap there. Had that car figured out. He's been getting faster week by week as well. He finished second at Oswego. He's got one more lap. We'll see if he can pick it up. There we go. Timing and scoring all figured out. 2.65 to a 2.85 for Sabin Vibant. Christian Peterson up to the 3rd spot. Trying to improve on lap number 4. Comes across the stripe. And he will take that 3rd lap time. 2.99. 3 cars into the 2s. Cole Cabry. I think going to reset it after his qualifying laps. Jackson Masinko looking for a good qualifying run. 5th quick on lap number 1. Remember, your top 5 get bonus points. We'll see what Masinko can do this next time around. Hugs that bottom lane. Looked like a good run through turns 3 and 4. That time around, improved up to the 4th spot. So put Jackson Masinko P4. Brandon Atkinson, 11th quick in the 15. Trying to get that car figured out. A lot of drivers having to drive it different ways, which I think is throwing them off just a little bit. Final car left to qualify. Cole Cabry in the 12. Drove it down hard into 3 that time. And I think that's going to do it for qualifying. Cabry's going to end up in the 5th spot, but pretty close. How about Sabin Bybant? Top of the board. His first career pole. His qualifying positions have gotten better week by week. First week he qualified 5th. 4th at Oswego. 3rd last week at Bristol. We skipped qualifying 2nd. Jumped straight up to the top of the board, and he will be bringing this field to green for 75 laps at this tricky 0.4 of a mile oval. We'll see if we can't grab him up in the broadcast booth. Up into the broadcast booth, Sabin Vibant, quick time here tonight. Over the past 4 weeks, you've gotten a little bit better through qualifying. One you qualified fifth, fourth, third, skipped second. Now we're right to the pole. What's it going to take in 75 laps to win your first 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series race?
I don't really know. I think I just need to kind of hang on. The biggest thing is not dropping too many spots here on the start, but not burning my stuff up too fast. Catalogne's always quick. Jack starting fourth is going to help me a little bit, but just trying to manage my stuff. Trying to stay top 2, 3 for the first 70, then seeing where we're at last 5. And honestly, that kind of surprised me there. I didn't like my final 3 laps weren't very good, so I'm just hoping I can hang up here and see what'll happen.
All right. How do you expect this racetrack to change over the course of 75 laps?
In practice, it seemed like it was easier to move up to the middle in 1 and 2, but I'm not too sure what's going to happen with the rubber. It seemed like it was kind of just slowing us down quite a bit, but honestly, it's just a big unknown for me.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you on your pole here tonight. Hopefully you can get a couple things figured out in these first 25 and set yourself up for a good finish later on tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Alrighty, folks, that was your fast qualifier, Sabin Vibant. Let's look at our starting grid for race number 7, South Boston, for the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. On the pole, the 98 of Sabin Vibant. We just talked to him in the KH Racing 98. To his outside, winner last week at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Second in the points, that's Zach Catalone. Picked up his first podium of the season last week at Bristol. Currently sits 5th in the point standings. That's Christian Peterson. Your points leader, Jackson Masinko, in the 24. Going to start in the second row here tonight. P4 is where he will roll off. And starting from the 5th spot, on the inside in the number 12, that is Cole Cabry. 91 of Jonathan Schaefer trying to get back onto the podium here at South Boston. Starts from the 6th spot. And the number 7 of Mitch Drunowski makes his first start with the series, going to roll off from the 7th position. He'll have the Eddie Sachs Racing number 17 of Andrew Bogus to his outside, starting in the 8th spot. And rounding out your top 10 starters, row number 5 on the inside, it's Jeffrey Stanton in the 94. And to his outside, Matthew Elsie Jr. in the 27. Looking for his best finish of the season. Brandon Atkinson in the Trick Chassis number 15, going to start 11th on the inside of row 6. And to his outside, the Precision Motorsports number 64 of Rylan Gray. Rounding out our starting field, going to be Josh Batista in the number 20. To his outside, Anthony Woodhull in the 81. Carter Hollingsworth in the 28, going to roll off 15th, alongside Noah Longyear in the 18. Going to roll off from the 16th spot. Noah originally was not supposed to be here tonight. Makes the call. He'll roll off 16th. Starting 17th, that's going to be Jeremiah Woods Jr. in the triple twos. Adam Fulford, our race control here tonight. So the field going to get a couple laps to get some heat in the tires here. And this time by, we should get the 1-to-go signal. It'll be the 98 of Sabin Vibant and Zach Catalone. Watch out for that 75 of Christian Peterson. He has gotten better week in and week out. I'd keep an eye on that 75 to improve a little bit more here tonight. Let's see what he can do as the field tightens up through turns 3 and 4. The pace car is going to drop off to the bottom side of the racetrack, and the green is up, the green is out, and we are racing here at South Boston in the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. Catalone had the advantage down into turns 1 and 2 for the first time, but out of turns 3 and 4, it's going to be Sabin Vibant leading lap number 1. Christian Peterson up to the 2nd spot. Masinko up to the third position, the outside. Not the place to be early on as they work their way down into turns 3 and 4. Now Mitch Drunowski going to get to the inside of Zach Catalone. Stanton in the 94 going to work as well. The 79 of Catalone having a hard time getting down to the inside lane. You see how hard it is to work that top right now. Just doesn't want to use up too much of the good in the tires early. As Andrew Bogus in the 17 looked to the inside of Jeffrey Stanton. Stanton shut the door. There was a big wiggle out of turn number 2 that time. Luckily, everybody able to keep it in the right direction. They go down through turns 3 and 4. Jonathan Schaefer now up to the outside lane. Looks to the right rear of Zach Catalone in the 79, but Catalone wants to fight back down to the bottom. He doesn't want to be stuck up on that outside lane. Matthew Elzey Jr. and Rylan Gray side by side for the final spot in the top 10 as things begin to settle down up at the front of the pack. Catalone qualified second all the way back to the 7th spot. Is big moment for Brandon Atkinson in the 15. All kinds of sideways down the back straightaway, lost a ton of ground. And luckily everybody able to keep it in the right direction there. Single file throughout your field. Sabin Bybent leads by about 2 car lengths over Christian Peterson. Peterson in the 75. Best he has ran all season long in that second position. Like we've mentioned, he has improved week in and week out, and he's looking like a strong competitor early here tonight. How about the 7 of Mitch Drunowski? Rolled off in the 7th position, already up to 4th in the first 10 laps of this one as he's sideways up off of 4. Bogus and Stanton have to check up back behind. Stanton shuts the door on the 17 once again. I'm interested to see how some of these drivers adjust over the course of the long run. I didn't see very much long run practice throughout the practice session. There was a lot of qualifying speed, mock runs. Just everybody trying to figure out exactly where they stood on the scoreboard. But everybody getting their first real feel for the race speeds and how these cars are going to adjust over the course of a long run. 13 laps in, we've got about a 7-car breakaway up at the front. Back to Brandon Atkinson, who runs 8th, just ahead of Jonathan Schaefer and Rylan Gray. This field really is starting to get a little bit more spread out than I had thought. Ooh, 81 of Anthony Woodhull loose out of 4. Loses some positions. Had to catch it on the bottom of the racetrack. Luckily, everybody able to avoid. And the tough thing sometimes is when things like that happen, everybody back behind is just so close on lap time that makes it difficult to really check up. As we're going to go on board with Jeffrey Stanton as he looks to the inside of Mitch Drunowski. Drunowski struggling up off of the corners here, is trying to get that car to rotate on corner exit. Is now here's Jackson Masinko down to the inside of Christian Peterson. Thought about the inside, now he'll try the top shelf. Masinko in the 24 to the outside of Peterson for the 2nd spot. Crossover move, looked low, thought high, went to the top side, and now Masinko up to the 2nd spot. That was a handful. That 24 has come to life these past couple laps as Bogus into the back bumper of Stanton looks to the inside. The 17 being very aggressive, trying to get up into the top 5, and he will now look underneath Stanton. Nearly contact that time up off of turn number 4, but Stanton holds strong on the top lane. The 94 pulls ahead down the backstretch. You see as soon as these two get side by side, the ground they lose on the cars ahead and how quickly that Catalone is able to close that gap behind. But now for the race lead, Christian Peterson shoots back around the outside of Jackson Masinko, and now he's going to look around the outside of Sabin Bybent for the race lead. Christian Peterson shoots out of a cannon to the top spot down the back straightaway. Bybent in the 98 losing some ground on the inside, and now Masinko going to pass on the outside as well. Drunowski going to look to the inside. Cars moving all over the racetrack, and there goes the 98 of Sabin Bybit. He spins, and they keep it going. Everybody does a fantastic job of keeping it off of the 98, but caution flag flies for the first time. Contact between Drunowski and Sabin Bybit. Let's watch that one more time. Bybit was on the inside. He crossed over, got up to the outside here, and then down into 1 and 2. Looked like the two just came together. Very close to call. Luckily, though, everybody does a wonderful job hitting the brakes, checking up for that incident. We'll watch it from the drone here. And watch right here. Watch the 7. They just kind of, I think, meet in the middle. The 7's coming up the racetrack, and the 98's trying to pinch him off on the exit, and around goes Bybit. But a fantastic job of everybody avoiding that. Go on board with Zach Catalone to see his view of that one. Man, and when you're in that position right there, you just have to think big wreck down the back straightaway, because there is not a lot of room at South Boston. And everybody did a fantastic job there getting the cars figured out in the right direction, slowed down accordingly. We will re-rack them and re-stack them. Field lined back up behind this iRacing.com pace car. The lights are off, and Christian Peterson going to be the race leader when we come back to the green. Drunowski and Bybit both went to pit lane that time, got some repairs, and through the restart zone they go. Good launch that time from Peterson. Back behind him, a couple drivers tried to get the whole shot to the inside. Rylan Gray gets to the outside of Jonathan Schaefer as they work off into turns 3 and 4. Out front, Christian Peterson leads in the 75. Rylan Gray uses that outside lane, gets around Jonathan Schaefer. How about Noah Longyear in the 18? Up 7 positions, make it 8 across the line as he gets around Jonathan Schaefer. That outside lane starting to come into play here late as Carter Hollingsworth in the 28 has a handful down the back straightaway. Everybody trying to get back into their rhythm as a couple of cars check up on the front stretch there. Everybody just trying to feel out the race car after we send them back to green. Jeffrey Stanton in the 94 up to the 3rd spot. Cuts down to the bottom. Looking underneath Jackson Masinko. And we've got a caution flag out. 98 of Sabin Bybit. Unfortunate. He was slow. I think he got it caught back up, but the 98 of Bybit goes for a spin. Let's see what happened. And I think Woods in the 222s there is who that was. Just did not see the 98 to his outside, I don't think. This is down into turns 1 and 2. We'll use the help of the drone once again. And watch right here, the 22 goes up the racetrack, and then just the slightest little bit of contact there. May not have even really been contact, looked like maybe just netcode even. But the 98 of Bybit goes around. That puts us back under caution. Christian Peterson in the 75. He's your race leader at this point. And Masinko and Stanton behind. They weren't necessarily on his back bumper looking hungry for that race lead just yet. I'm sure the aggression dial going to get cranked up as we move on throughout the race. But Peterson leads. Masinko is 2nd. Jeffrey Stanton runs 3rd. Andrew Bogus runs in the 4th spot. And Zach Catalone runs in the 5th position. your biggest movers so far. Noah Longyear up 8 positions into the top 10, runs 8th currently. We'll see if that 18 can continue to work his way forward. We are just shy of the halfway point. Remember, caution laps do not count, so these laps under yellow here not taking out of our total number of 75. And we will restart the lap counter here as the pace car pulls back down to pit road, and Christian Peterson launches from the restart zone. Good start there. Green flag back out. 30 laps into the books when they come back around this time by. It'll be 45 to go. And Peterson in the 75 takes off to the race lead. Back behind, Mitch Runowski trying to work his way back forward. Still gets around Carter Hollingsworth. And it looks like the cars back behind the top 5, not the most comfortable in the seat at this time. Left and right, seeing a couple cars swerve, and Brandon Atkinson went way down the racetrack there. I don't know how he's still driving that car through turns 3 and 4. He shot to the bottom out of turn number 2. That allowed Rylan Gray and Noah Longyear to get to his inside. And now Atkinson up and over in turn number 3. Josh Batista also collected. And man, I think it was just getting to be a little bit too much of a handful for the 15 of Brandon Atkinson there. And Batista just, unfortunately, an innocent bystander. I didn't see exactly how he got tagged and sent into the wall, but hard contact nonetheless. Let's watch Brandon Atkinson here. And let's go back to the lap prior, because I want to see the in-car of this 15. Scrapes the wall down there, somehow keeps it going. And then this is how the incident actually occurred. Down the backstretch here. Looked like the 15 just came up the racetrack. Nowhere for Jonathan Schaefer to go, unfortunately. Wheel hops down into the corner. Schaefer continues on, but with some damage, of course. Batista, watch his view of that incident. You see the wreck up ahead, just gets into it a little bit too late, I think. Can't quite see it in time, and ultimately that sends him around. Made some pretty heavy contact with the outside wall. The good thing about the caution laps not counting, these drivers are able to get more damage repaired under caution flags. We'll see if Atkinson does end up coming back out or if he calls it a night in the 15. Either way, lights back off on the iRacing.com pace car. 14 cars on the racetrack. Getting ready to go back green. All 14 remain on the lead lap as we are just shy of the halfway point. Christian Peterson, Jackson Masinko, and Jeffrey Stanton, your top 3, bring us back to the green, and we're back racing. Another good launch from the 75 of Peterson. Back behind, Zach Catalone looks to the inside of Andrew Bogus. Bogus on the outside lane, trying to make the second groove work. Catalone on the bottom. It's getting tight here now. Oh, as a car shoots to the top of the racetrack, that was Mitch Drunowski. And caution flag is out. Jeremiah Woods in the triple twos had some trouble. Let's see what happened here. Oh, and it looked like actually Anthony Woodhull in the 81. Looked like there was contact with Carter Hollingsworth. Yeah, it looked like Hollingsworth, I think, had a handful down the back straightaway, and the car got out from underneath of him. Yeah, I think he veered just a little bit too much, and Made contact, and that was enough. So that's going to take a couple cars out of it. Woodhull, Hollingsworth, Jeremiah Woods also, I think, going to be down pit road and out of this one. So an unfortunate break for a couple of the drivers further back in this field. Your top 5 remains the same. Catalone was not able to get around Andrew Bogus. Now 10 cars bring us back to the green. Jonathan Schaefer going to tag the end of the field here, gets out of pit road. And this time by, going to come back to green at the halfway point. Just under 40 laps to go. And we are back racing. Good launch once again from Peterson. What can Masenko or Stanton do back behind? Zach Catalone and Andrew Bogus battle side by side for the 4th spot. Bogus on the inside. Catalone trying to use up that outside lane. And Catalone going to take the position. Noah Longyear in the 18 up to the 7th spot. Just shy of the top 5, trying to work his way back forward. Sabin Bybent continues to try to charge back to the front. Is up front. Christian Peterson in the 75 continues to show the way. Lap 40 up on the board. We'll get the 30 lap to go signal here soon. And we've got a car around down the back straightaway. Noah Longyear in the 18. Sabin Bybent also collected. Man, it's been a rough night for our pole sitter. Let's see how it happened. Longyear was running just near the top 5. And it looked like just got a little bit loose off of 2. Car snapped around. Watch it on board. Yeah, you could hear the tires squealing when he started to hit the gas, and I think had a little bit too much wheel in it when that happened. On board with 98 of Bybent here. And unfortunately nothing he could do. Was full throttle, just about had him cleared, and then bang, contact. So unfortunate for both of those drivers. I think everybody able to come back out after that one. So we'll send them back green. Inside of 40 or 35 laps to go. It'll be Peterson, Masenko, and Stanton, your top 3. Pace car is off, and they go through the restart zone, back underway. Good launch once again from Peterson down into turns 1 and 2. Keep an eye on the 79 of Zach Catalone, trying to find something up on that top lane. Through turns 3 and 4. Peterson leads. Stanton using the top side as well now. Jumps up there, and he makes a charge to the back bumper of Jackson Masenko. Masenko a little bit loose in the 24, and now Stanton in the 94 drops to the bottom. That allows Zach Catalone the outside lane. Catalone up to the 3rd spot in the 79. Out of turn number 4, Catalone in the 79 back up to the 3rd position. Andrew Bogus in the 17 runs in the 4th spot right now, knocking on the podium. It'll be 30 laps to go when we come back around. 30 to go for Christian Peterson. Jackson Masinko in the 24 is right there on the back bumper, but now Catalone to the inside. Catalone in the 79 looks to the inside of Jackson Masinko, just about contact that time. Masinko in the 24 trying to use up that momentum on the top side. You can see him shoot ahead on corner exit. Catalone in the 79's loose on the bottom. That allows Masinko to clear. Now Jeffrey Stanton going to battle back for the 4th spot. Stanton to the outside of Bogus. They enter turn 3 side by side. Stanton on the top. Andrew Bogus on the bottom. Christian Peterson in the 75, starting to open up the gap to the 24 of Jackson Masinko. But this racetrack starting to get very wide. Both ends, turns 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. You see Stanton in the 94 making that 3rd groove work. Just trying to get that car carved around the banking and down the straightaway. And what's interesting to me is we're really seeing a lot of drivers make different lines work. There were 5 different cars going into one right there in the top 5. It looked like 5 different lines being ran. 23 laps to go. Masinko still trying to hold off Zach Catalone. Catalone right there in the 79. Looks down underneath to the inside. Masinko able to hold him off from the top. Nearly contact that time through 1 and 2. Man, the 79 getting really close to the bumper. Had to back out of it. Masinko shut the door. And that allows Jeffrey Stanton in the 94 to think about the top side. And now Catalone blocks that outside lane, but Stanton's right there. Stanton has to back out of it. Here comes Mitch Drunowski in the 7. Drunowski in his first start in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series wants to battle with the top 5. 20 laps to go. It'll be 19 when they come back around this time. And now drivers behind Christian Peterson trying to get around Jackson Masinko. Masinko in the 24 is loose. They're 3 wide on the bottom 1 and 2. Masinko able to hold off. Catalone tried to leave a lane for Stanton, but Stanton backed out. And Masinko was able to use that and drive off of the top side. Is now Mitch Drunowski in the 7 goes around. And that puts us back under caution right as things were heating up. Looked like someone may have gotten loose off of 4 and I think tagged the 7 of Drunowski, or it was the 7 of Drunowski that was loose off of 4. Watch it again here. 7 of Drunowski to the inside underneath Bogus. Oh, and I don't know if there was contact there, if there was net code, what exactly happened. But let's watch that again from a better view here. Get the drone out. Watch coming out of 4. The 7's on the inside. Looks like he may start to come up the racetrack, and yeah, a little contact there, and it shoots him down to the bottom. Does a good job saving it from the inside wall, but unfortunately could not get that car gathered back up before turn 1. It is very hard to save these race cars at such a speed on this short of a straightaway. Let's have the real speed onboard here. You can hear him immediately crack the gas, try to correct it, and just barely overcorrects it. I think if he would have been able to straighten that out, he would have been able to continue on. But unfortunately, down pit road, and going to have to get that race car repaired before completing the final 15 laps. We will get the 1 to go signal once again. Man, Christian Peterson has figured something out here at South Boston. He's holding off Masinko, Catalone, Stanton, Bogus, drivers that have ran up front all season long. And Peterson trying to become the next winner in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. Pace car is off, and through the restart zone they go. Good launch once again for the 75 of Peterson. Has about a car length over Jackson Masinko as they head down into turn number 3. Catalone and Stanton searching up the racetrack, trying to find some grip, trying to find a run to get up to Jackson Masinko. Now to the outside. Catalone looks up to the top. Masinko trying to make the inside lane work. Masinko not able to shut the door that time, and he will slide up in front of Zach Catalone. Catalone going to cross over, looks to the inside. Battle for second. Catalone down low, Masinko up top. Masinko did not like the run that Catalone was able to get on the top side through a slide job, says, I'm going to use the top instead. Now here comes Jeffrey Stanton up to the 3rd spot. Stanton in the 94 on the outside lane gets up to the 3rd position, and he will set his sights on Jackson Masinko. 94 using every inch of room available to him here at South Boston. Drives down to the bottom now. 12 laps to go for Christian Peterson. Stanton in the 94 drives down to the inside, trying to find a lane underneath Jackson Masinko, all the way down onto the flat, and Stanton has a handful down into one loose. There was contact between him and Catalone. They both went up the racetrack, held on to it. 10 laps to go this time for Christian Peterson, 10 to go. Peterson trying to hang on. He has got Jackson Masinko in the 24 back behind him. 9 laps remain. Let's take a look at the lap times. Peterson just a little bit quicker, but that time he was loose out of the corner. So was Zach Catalone in the 79. That allows Andrew Bogus to get up to his outside. Bogus in the 17 on the outside lane, trying to make the second groove work. It'll be 7 laps to go this time. Laps are running out for Jackson Masinko if he wants a shot at the victory here at South Boston. Still trying to sort out this final spot on the podium. Catalone to the inside, Andrew Bogus to the outside. Catalone doing a good job holding that inside lane, but just not able to clear just yet. Andrew Bogus on the top, just too strong in that second groove. Catalone now going to jump back up to the top side. There's Rylan Gray in the 64. Haven't talked about him much in the second half of this race. He's right there. Wants a spot in the top 5 as Stanton gets loose back behind him. Gray going to look underneath. Up front for Christian Peterson, it is 3 laps to go. 3 more times around for the 75. That gap starting to open up. Out of turns 3 and 4, popsicle sticks up in the air for Christian Peterson, trying to bring this one home. Look at the big run from Jeffrey Stanton to the outside of Rylan Gray. That's the battle for the 5th spot. This time by, white flag is out. Final time around for Christian Peterson. Down the back straightaway they go. He's got about a 10-car length advantage over Jackson Masinko. And for the first time, up and out of turns 3 and 4, it's going to be Christian Peterson winning in 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series at South Boston. What a race and what a run from Christian Peterson. Finally able to break through and get that first 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series win. It's been a long time coming. He's had 3 top 5 finishes this season, 5 top 10s in 6 races up to this point. And now, finally, a 1 goes in the win column. The goose egg is no more. We'll try to grab a word from our winner here in just a moment as soon as we can. And there he is. We'll get him up into the broadcast booth.
Fucking kidding me.
Up into the broadcast booth. Christian Peterson, winner finally in the track or in the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. Man, how does it feel?
It feels awesome. Yeah, I don't know how we did it. Got to early and held on all through all those restarts. That was definitely nerve-wracking, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely looked like they were on your tail. You had something figured out over the long runs. I don't think anybody was really able to put any pressure on you once you got that race lead. But tell me about how you took the race lead. I mean, how did you find it in you? It looked like you shot out of a cannon on the outside lane.
Yeah, Jackson got by me on the top, and then I kind of fell in line, and then I think he went for a move on the leader there, and when he did, I was able to motor around him, and then the leader got loose off 2, and I was able to carry that into 3 and just keep it going. So yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. Wasn't really expecting it, but right place, right time.
Yeah, for sure. You've been getting better and better week in and week out in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. There have been only 4 different winners now. You're the 4th different driver to win in this series. How does it, I mean, where does it stack up against, I mean, as far as wins go, how good does it feel to finally break through knowing you've been working out for so long?
Yeah, it feels good for sure. Just not really ever running this car before this series. I ran it a few times, like way back in the day, but I know there's some stout guys that run this car a lot, or run these cars in real life, whatever the case may be, that and just trying to learn from them week in and week out. Thought we had a shot last week at Bristol, and then I guess it did. I guess the momentum carried over to this week, so pretty happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. Momentum definitely does play a role in iRacing leagues. I've noticed that for sure. But before we let you go, Christian, first win in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. Who do you have to thank for that first checkered flag?
Just gotta thank you guys for putting the show on. You and everybody else who shows up for the races every week. It's been a lot of fun. Like, I think I said this last week too, but just, I don't know, I look forward to these races. Such a handful, and guys are more worried about not wrecking themselves than they are trying to get the edge on somebody. So it makes it a lot of fun racing with respect and all that. So like I said, just you guys and everybody shows up, everybody at Trick BA who runs the races with me every week, my girl for letting me race every week, and then did this one for Dan, baby.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to you on win number 1 in the I almost said it again. Not the Trackmaster Sim Series. It's not Thursday.
Well, I was gonna say,
1.
I won the championship in the Trackmaster Sim Series at South Boston, but I did not think it was gonna correlate to the sprint cars. I'm happy. So
yeah, I think
thank you.
Did. Winner here tonight. Congratulations. Hopefully, we're not done yet.
Yes, sir.
All right, that was your winner, Christian Peterson. Now let's talk to our second place finisher, who had a good run. He started in the 4th spot, worked his way up to 2nd, but just was not able to get back around Christian Peterson. Jackson Basinko up in the broadcast booth. P2 here tonight. Looked like you had a strong race car, just not enough for that 75.
Yeah, I actually, I think I got a little lucky that everyone behind me was battling. I think I was slower than Zach and Jeffrey when they were in clean air, but I don't know. I know Zach got to my outside one time. It looked like he got a little free out of the corner and gave me a little bit of a run, and I figured I had to drive that thing in really deep because it felt like later in the race, if you got stuck on the bottom, you might get freight trained. So I think once I did that, he tried to cross under me, and then those Catalone and Stanton, they just started really battling and allowed me to get away, which was really nice. I tried running down Christian, and he had the upper hand on me all race, obviously. So P2 feels like P2 feels like a win because it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely salvage out of a night where you don't entirely feel like you have the best car, and P2, nothing to hang your head about. Do you think? I think CP may have taken that comment in Discord personal after Bristol.
I think so. I think so too.
Yeah,
He did. He had us big time. But no, that was a good race. He raced me really cleanly, even when I definitely right when I tried to go to the inside of Vibant for the lead and he got around me, I knew that was a mistake. But even then, I still don't think I would have stayed in front of him the entire race. He just had enough speed on me. I think he could have definitely made the pass regardless. So he was the car to beat, and gotta get into the lab, I guess, a little bit more and work a little harder.
For sure. We've got Slinger next week. The most comparable track to Anderson on the sim and on the schedule here. What are your expectations going into 100 laps there? What are the big points of, I guess, interest in your research?
Consistency. Like, it's hard. Any track with this sprint car on iRacing is extremely hard to be consistent, but especially when you throw a race that's going to be 100 laps long, like you've got to take care of the tires. You've got to hit your marks. As long as you hit your marks, it makes you really, really tough to pass regardless of racetrack, because it is just tough to pass in these cars. So just trying to make sure I'm as inch perfect as I can each lap, even if that means I'm not, the fastest on the track. If I can get a good qualifying and be up front, I feel like we can be just as competitive as I have everywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll definitely be a fun race. We've got only 3 more races left this season, so you're knocking on the door of the championship if you can hold off Catalone. It's going to be interesting once we see the drop weeks and how that all works out.
That will be interesting. But hey, I at least gained a few points on him today, and I don't think either of these will be our drop scores. So we'll see how that goes. I know he's going to be just as fast at our remaining 3 tracks as he has every single race. So it's gonna be hard fought. But him and I have been neck and neck up until this point. I don't see why we won't remain so.
Yeah, for sure. You guys are going to have a good battle to the finish, but congratulations to you, Jackson, on P2 here this evening.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right, race fans, that was Jackson Masinko, our second place finisher. And now let's talk to one of the drivers that maybe worked the hardest here tonight. He had a hard-fought third place finish. Andrew Bogus up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, P3 here tonight from the 8th spot. Man, you were fighting for that third position all the way down to the checkered flag. Tell me about your race and tell me about those final 25 or so.
Yeah, I knew we had speed, especially on the bottom early on in the race. But I think if we would have gotten around Stanton and Catalone early, we probably would have been fighting with Masinko. But yeah, they put up a really good fight, especially towards the end. Just had to wait for them to make their own mistakes, and that's exactly what happens. Just use patience. But yeah, congrats to Christian on his win. 24 Jackson Masinko. It's always a pleasure racing with him. But yeah, I just felt like we had speed tonight. Kind of fell back in the middle section, and then we kind of turned it on in the last part as soon as everybody wore their stuff out. So yeah.
Yeah, how important was tire conservation throughout the race? I know you said you were trying to take it easy, but like how much of a factor did it make at the end of the race? Could you tell there was some guys that burn up their stuff, or was it kind of just pick and choose your battles?
I'd say it's kind of more pick and choose your battles. It just depends on where you put the car. Like towards the beginning of the race, the bottom, and if you dip your left side tires down there, you can get really good speed, especially with the stagger coming off of the corner. And then towards the end, the outside coming in, and I think that's what allowed Catalone to get around me in that middle section. But in terms of tire conservation, I don't think there was much at all. It just depended on whether you slipped up or not or made a mistake, and then that really set your tires off. So you just had to keep your more tires in check rather than trying to conserve and have more life in them.
Yeah, that's what I've always said. There's not necessarily tire wear, but boy, is there tire heat, and you got to keep them things
Yep.
cool.
Absolutely.
Did a good job keeping it cool here tonight, and you got it P3. Who do you have to thank for a podium once again on track? Or that's like the fourth time I've done it this stream. We're gonna have to have a counter at the end of this. In the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series.
Big thanks to Ted and Mary Stahl of the Stahl's Motors and Music Experience. Eddie Jawad and his family from Pit Stop gas stations, convenience stores, and Matt and Ashley Double of USA Earthworks. And I just want to give a big shout out to our friend George Burgess. A big happy birthday to him. We actually celebrated his birthday at when I was racing his car on Saturday at the Flat Rock Speedway. So happy birthday, George, if you're watching this.
Well, hopefully it was a good day at the Flat Rock Speedway. Hopefully it was a good, well-spent birthday. But anyways, one more question before I let you go. Slinger next week. What's it going to take to get your first win of the season?
Just consistency, like we've been always doing. If something ever materializes, go for broke and see if it works, and then hard part is keeping it. Slinger is a very high bank track. To me, it kind of reminds me of one of my local tracks, Corgan Oil, where you take 1 and 2 just like every other race. You can get on it early because of the banking. It's Corgan Oil. The track widens out, and then 3 and 4, it's more of just a very, very late apex at both tracks. So we'll see what we can do there and try to replicate that.
Alrighty, well, congratulations to P3, or congratulations to you on P3 here tonight. It's been a long day, and hopefully,
thank you so much.
Hopefully, you can have another podium run and maybe a win throughout these next 3 races.
Thank you, sir, and as always, thank you for the host, Winston.
Yes, sir. Been fun. All right, that was Andrew Bogus, our 3rd place finisher. Let's look at our final finishing results and then head on out of here. Up on screen, your winner, Christian Peterson, first win in the Trackmaster. Oh my goodness. I hope nobody's watching that would get that reference. Has not been a good time as far as speaking goes. Christian Peterson, first win in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. There we go. Jackson Masinko comes home 2nd. Andrew Bogus 3rd. Zach Catalone 4th. Jeffrey Stanton comes home 5th. Rylan Gray 6th, Sabin Bybit 7th, Jonathan Schaefer 8th, Matthew Elzy Jr. finishes in the 9th spot, final car on lead lap, Noah Longyear 10th, Mitch Drunowski 11th, Anthony Woodhull 12th, Carter Hollingsworth 13th, Jeremiah Woods 14th, Brandon Atkinson 15th, Josh Batista rounds out your starters in the 16th spot. Well, folks, that will do it for us here tonight on the WD Broadcasting Network. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button for more iRacing content. And so you guys don't miss the next race for the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. We've got Slinger, 5 Flags, and IRP to close out the season. So we'll see you guys in the upcoming weeks. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for the Street Stock Showdown. Make sure you're right back here. But until next time, I'm your host, Winston Deal, signing it off. Everybody take it easy. Have a good night.